Do you ever feel like sometimes you're just not talented enough or you're not good enough? Or maybe you feel like you just don't have the skills like other people around you, especially like if you're trying to get into an industry or you're trying to find a job or maybe a sport or an hobby, an activity. Well, don't worry, because in today's video, I'm going to share with you why I believe that I would rather have average skill and phenomenal will. Let's get it, Celia.
Gotta take what's burning from deep down within out into the world so the healing can begin. Created for greatness, don't let anything get in the way. Realize with your real life, you'll affect the world in a major way. Time to make a difference and show the world what you're all about. Live life with passion, fire it up from the inside out.
Yes, 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 yes. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining in and tuning in for another live stream episode of FTIO, where we are all about inspiring change from the inside out. Good morning, Bro Rye here. Happy to be with you all again for this quarantine series. If this is your first time joining in, I'm here Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, Facebook and YouTube live. Again, and if you find any value in this video at any point, please do me a favor and join the tribe and click subscribe on the link below. Yes, and so again, this is the quarantine series 24th, y'all, 24 Kobe, right? 24th live stream, again, just in beta. I still call it beta because I'm still trying to like figure this way out or figure out what's going on. So thank you for being with me, and if you are with me on the live stream or the replay, do me a favor and just drop a hello, a good morning, a good evening, good afternoon, whenever you're watching this video, and just matter of fact, shout out where you are tuning in from. Love to just again see where everyone's at and where that's watching. So let me see. Matter of fact, got my first comment right here. Chavez, yes, good morning, good morning, good morning. Arizona in the building, in the building. So yeah, y'all. So I'm gonna do something different today. Today is my first time on a live stream that I'm actually gonna go ahead and do not necessarily a full book review, but I just, I've been thinking more and more like how can I provide more value to each and every one of you and kind of mix it up a little bit. So as you know, we're inspiring change from the inside out, right? Through videos, live streams, podcasts, and all different kinds of ways. So I was thinking, like, what if, right, I just take some of the books that I've, read over the years and kind of just share with you some of the highlights to maybe inspire some change within you to maybe pick the book up, or maybe, again, just share with you all the things that I've gone through from the inside that I want to take out to you, because true change starts from the inside and we take that out. So today, right, I can, I will, I must. Yes, say that with me, y'all. I can, I will, I must. Matter of fact, if you're able and in a position right now to type that in the comments, do me a favor and type that in the comments. Say, I can, I will, I must. Now, when I first heard that, it came from my boy, Eric Thomas. So let me just go ahead and, get into like, first of all, who is Eric Thomas and how did I find Eric Thomas? So first of all, Dr. Eric Thomas, AKA the Hip Hop Preacher. If you don't know about him, I suggest, Google him, YouTube. My man has over 10 years worth of content. Yes, 10 years worth of content on YouTube. He's been in the game for almost 15, 20 years. So his quick little backstory, right? He was a high school dropout, living in abandoned buildings, eating out of garbage cans, and fought through all of that, right? Fought through all of that, and now has his PhD, right? PhD in education. So just imagine what that story could look like. Growing up in Detroit, going through all the go-throughs, and he fought his way through. And he's, becoming a motivational speaker, and how he actually got exposed was, or how he got exposed and was through YouTube, actually. So he did what they call the guru story. And I'll just share with you real quick the guru story. And if you know the guru story and ET, again, just type in guru, ET, all in. Let's see. Jennifer, good morning. Yes, Vacaville's in the building. Yes, you can, you will, and you must, right? Especially now more than ever. These are the words that I say to myself every single morning. Yes, Arlene, good morning. Thank you for being with us. So back to ET, right? So back to ET. So how did I find him? There you go. So I'm trying to forget. So how did I find him? And like, so I've been rocking with ET for about 3 years now. Matter of fact, one of his stories that he shares is about this idea that when I guess his wife, let's start with this. His wife got sick, right? His wife got sick and he had MS and he was trying to figure out what to do. And people, again, his journey is so powerful because again, he was a motivational, they consider him a motivational speaker. He went from, oh, this is how he blew up. That's what I want to talk about. So he was on YouTube. He was doing like a class for those who are on the cusp of failing and getting dropped out of college at Michigan State. And so like his intensity and his passion, right, is so powerful that he was going in on the students and he was like, listen, y'all, we gotta, get our grades up because he's super big on education because again, education equals access and access equals opportunities. So as he was like motivating this group of students, someone actually recorded what he did and he shared the guru story. And if you don't know the guru story, again, look it up. But it's basically this idea where the guru says, if you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe. And that's like one of his first sayings that he ever came out with sure is like, if you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, like we can go without, food, we can go without water for days. But if you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, right, we need air, right? And that's what he used. And so he went in on this group of students and someone actually recorded it. I mean, he didn't even know that they were recording it. Then all of a sudden it got released, hit 1 million views, and then boom, right? Like he started taking his journey, like he started getting known for his passion for young people and education. And so because of that, that led to so many more opportunities. He ended up speaking for the NBA, the NFL, the Olympics. He's doing voiceovers for, Nike, Wingstop. He started my man just blew up. So again, thinking from a high school dropout, right, to someone living in abandoned buildings, eating that trash, and you'll hear the story over and over in his videos, is a reminder that he came from somewhere that was so low that no one expected him to be anything. And I think sometimes, we feel like, we're in a situation and we feel like we're not getting anywhere. So how I found him, just quick backstory, 2017, going through some really hard stuff in my life, personally, with family. And, we all have like those moments, right, where, for example, like if you, work out, you have that playlist, that gets you hyped and gets you motivated. And, like you hear that certain song or that certain beat and it just like wakes you up on the inside or it gets you fired up. Right. So when I was going through a really hard time in 2017, it was like professional struggles, family struggles, right? Like just some really hard stuff. I came across one of his videos. I can, I will, I must. And like every word that he said in that video, like spoke to me. Like I felt like he literally was just like in my living room talking to me, telling me like, you can do this. You will do this. You must do this. Right. And he shared a story about his wife who has MS and like, she had 7 lesions on the brain, like the whole nine. And she looks to him and like, what do you, what's going on? And he's like, what do you want me to do? And she's like, how are we going to do this? And, and that's where the whole message came from. Right. I can, I will, I must. And one thing that I love about ET, and you'll see me share a lot of reposting and sharing a lot of his, his quotes. And, these last couple of years have been life changing for me because he's one of those guys where if I need that extra motivation or if I need some, to be uplifted, I need to just like really get fired up and not just get hype fired up, but get my mind fired up, get my heart fired up, get my spirit fired up. He's one of those guys where if you just listen to some of his videos, and he uses a lot of sports analogies, and I guess because I'm really into sports, I could definitely relate to him. So one thing that, I think about when I think about ET, and let me just go to these banners, is he says that, we're wired differently. We're wired differently. And he talks about the story in Africa with the gazelle and the lion, right? If you don't know the story, the gazelle and the lion, every day in Africa, they wake up and the gazelle is running for, its life. It's running to survive. It's running away from things, right? It's wired to run away, to not be eaten. Think about that. What kind of life is that? To wake up every day just to not be eaten alive, to not, to survive. And some of us are living like that right now. We're running away from so many things. We're just trying to survive, just trying to make it. But the lion wakes up every day in Africa and is like, all right, it's time to eat. It's time to hunt. Right. So it's time to go after it. It's time to get it. So thinking about how we're wired, how are we wired in our daily routines? And so when I started thinking about that, I had to go out and stop running away from my problems. I had to start, acting like, what I'm saying, like it was about survival. Granted, we are in this, mode of like, okay, we got to take care of ourselves. But the mindset is what really shifted for me a couple of years ago. And it's like, you know what? I'm wired differently. So when people would see me and be like, hey, bro, like, you know, how do you know, why do you say that? Or why do you do that? Or how do you keep going? I'm like, I'm wired differently. I think the way I think, I do the things that I do because I am wired differently. And that's the only way that I'm going to be able to succeed. That's the only way I'm going to be able to take my life to the next level. Because if I continue to run away from things, if I continue to have the mindset of just survive, then I'm never going to grow. I'm never going to grow. So I started thinking about, how are we wired? How are you wired? What are some things that 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 are hardwired in you right now that are holding you back from taking your life to the next level, from getting to the next stage? What are some things that maybe you're so afraid of to try because of what other people told you, because of what other people said, or maybe you've seen other people try and they didn't get the results that you were hoping for, so it actually discouraged you. And that's why I always say, no one has my vision, right? This is my dream, so I don't expect you to understand completely. And just because it didn't work for you doesn't mean that it won't work for me, right? So thinking about being wired differently, right? And again, this book, Average Skill, Phenomenal Will, he talks about all the different things. And I'm going to share just a couple quotes from this book that I want to share with you this morning. This idea that you don't have to be the most talented. Like I said in the caption, in the title of this video, right? Hard work will beat talent every time. Talent doesn't go to work. So think about that for a moment. Where in your life, right? Maybe you're not the most skilled. Maybe you're not the most talented, right? Maybe you just like, it doesn't come naturally to you. That's okay. Because again, think about the greats. And I'm jumping ahead, but think about the greats, right? MJ, I'll just use MJ as an example. My man got cut from his high school basketball team. Come on, MJ, if you've been following The Last Dance and seeing, now you're seeing the mindset, the motivation. Like, he wanted the Chicago Bulls to be a franchise that was well known and respected, because before he came, they were nobodies. Chicago Bulls were nothing. He wanted them to be like the Lakers and the Detroit Pistons, the Celtics, and he said it in '84 and he ended in '90. So 14 years later, imagine that for a second, y'all. Think about that. He got cut from his high school basketball team. And in the following summer, y'all know the story. He just worked out. He just, practiced by himself. No one told him what to do. And he said, you know what? I'm not going to let that be the end of it. Imagine if he would have said, okay, I guess basketball's not my thing. Imagine if he would have let that failure, like, just change the direction of where he was going. No, but instead, phenomenal will, right? Instead, phenomenal will. So let me go ahead and move forward. So be wired differently, right? And this is the book, Average Skill, Phenomenal Will. Pick it up. Again, this is not a sponsored video, but this little book is so powerful. I love it because it's an easy read, and there's a lot of like self-assessments in here, things that you can follow along with to kind of see where you're at, right? Let's see here. What else? And let me get into the comments. Yo, Coach Carey, good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Yep. Thank you for being with us today. And yeah, so here we go. Back to ET. All right, so Average Skill, Phenomenal Will. This book right here is powerful. So here's the first piece that I wanted to share with you. Okay. It's impossible to know how far you need to go if you think, or if you can't be real with yourself about where you are. Knowing the truth hurts, but it put him in a position to grow. Okay, sorry if I typed that all kind of jacked up. But send it again. It's impossible to know how far you need to go if you can't be real with yourself and where you are. Knowing the truth hurts, but it put him in a position to grow. Right? So self-assessment. Where are we right now? Sometimes we surround ourselves with people who hype us up, who motivate us, which is great. But sometimes, we got to get that true, I always say, speak the truth with love. Like, share with me the reality of where I'm really at. Where do I need to be? Whether it's your health, whether it's your finances, whether it's your career, whether it's your relationships, right? The truth may hurt, but when you're in that situation where you're getting the truth, and even though it hurts, what does it say in the next line? You're in a position to grow. You're in a position to grow, right? In the scriptures, it said a couple last week we were talking about, the vine grower, the branches, and pruning, right? Pruning, right? Getting things cut out of your life for a reason is, we prune a plant to help it grow. Of course, you're using scissors, you're cutting something out, and that might hurt the plant or not. But at the end of the day, what happens to the plant? It grows. It allows it, the opportunity to grow. So there's things in our lives that are gonna get pruned out when we think about, again, the truth, like the reality check. Where am I in my life? How can I get better? Okay. And then in another part of his book, he says, "Dear haters, I have so much more. I have so much more for you to be mad at. People fail to understand that there is a timeline for greatness." And he talked about his grandma's cooking. Right? He said he talked about all the different recipes, how grandma marinades it, and it was, he compared it to like, a fried chicken joint like KFC. And let's think about that for a moment. Think about, someone in your family who cooks really well, right? That preparation, that time. And in grandma's cooking, he used the analogy in the book of, the seasoning and the spices. Like it takes time to soak in that, it would be a few days or however long it would take before grandma even, cook the chicken. Versus, we'd go through the drive-through to just, put it in the fryer and you get it. And yeah, the taste is different. And why is it different? Because, some of the better things take time, right? Your greatness is going to take time. There's a time frame. There's a timeline for your greatness. And I think we're in this time right now where we just want everything right away, instant gratification. We just want it now, 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 now. But just think about that for a moment, right? Especially if you have that average skill. Well, that phenomenal will take you to the next level, right? If you're willing to work at it, but you got to take some time. You got to allow that process to unfold. Especially now, I think, again, with all the shelter in place, like we have time, but are we using it wisely? Are we trusting the process? Are we putting in the work? Are we putting in the work? Right? Again, if you have average skill and you know it, that's fine. But if you have a phenomenal will, that'll take you to the next level. And one thing that I love about, again, this book here is that he shares a bunch of short stories of folks that we all know that had the worst circumstances. Whoopi Goldberg, Oprah Winfrey, Van Gogh, Milton Hershey, right? Like, there's so many stories in here of folks that we see now and we see all that they did or we see all their accomplishments, but we don't realize where they started and what circumstances they had. Because if we were to read where their life started, many of us would have, or if we would have put ourselves in their shoes, like we wouldn't think that we would, make it as far as they did. And that's the difference, right? And that's the difference between, being, hard work and that talent. Like if you're willing to put in the work, if you're willing to have phenomenal will, no matter what your skill level's at, you can take things to the next level. So in this book, it shares, again, really powerful, motivational short stories of people who we know and kind of their upbringings, facts, things that I never really knew about, their upbringings and their childhood and things like that. And I love this piece. Here goes. Failures don't make me a failure. Ooh, come on. Come on, say it with me. Failures don't make me a failure. It was my attitude about failures that made me a failure. And he says, knowing that some of my heroes, I got a bunch of typos, y'all, my bad. Knowing that some of my heroes, I messed that up, but it was supposed to say, knowing that some of my heroes failed and still ended up champions empowered me. Take that in for a second, right? Knowing that some of his heroes failed and still ended up champions empowered him. And it's not failure that makes us a failure. It's our attitude towards failure that makes us a failure. I mean, how deep is that, right? It's not the failure that makes us a failure. It's our attitude towards failure that makes it a failure. So where in our lives right now can we relate to that, where we feel like we failed? For many of us who are trying to provide for our families, like right now, this is my 10th week, no work, y'all, like just barely making it. Right? Feeling like I'm failing my family, feeling like I'm failing my wife, feeling like I'm failing, the vows that I took, when we got married. I'm feeling that failure, right? But what's my attitude towards what's happening, right? What's my attitude towards it? It's my attitude that's going to make it a failure. And so my attitude, again, average skill, phenomenal will. I can, I will, I must, right? I can provide, I will provide, I must provide. I can grow, I will grow, I must grow. It's going to be different for all of us. But again, take that into consideration for a second. If you feel like you have failed or you feel like a failure, it's your attitude that makes it a failure. It's not the actual failure itself. because like we say, fail forward, keep growing, get better, learn from your, or your mistakes, or learn from your failures. Let me see. Let me get some comments on here, y'all. Good morning, Joanne. Yes. No, don't worry, girl. You here? Getting ready for work. Yes. Praise God. Absolutely. Chavez. Yes, absolutely. And that's it, right? We have to continue to grow. We have to continue to fail forward and understand that a failure is not a failure. It's the attitude towards our failure. Right? And so knowing that a lot of our greats, a lot of the people you look up to in whatever industry, whoever your heroes might be, just know like there was failure there. There isn't one story where someone didn't fail at all at whatever they were trying to do. And then here's another piece where he says, take that off. And then my last point, y'all, again, thank you for rocking with me. We're just going over some of the highlights in this book, Average Skill, Phenomenal Will by Dr. Eric Thomas, AKA the Hip Hop Preacher. 120 Mindset. Yo, this is deep right here. 120 Mindset. And he asked the question, what will you do when there are 1,000 other people who want the same thing you want? I will not be outworked. Think about that for a moment. There's 1,000 other people that want the same thing that you want. What's going to make you different? What's going to make you stand out? And he uses this, analogy again, like he will not be outworked. He knows he's not the most talented. He knows that in terms of motivational speaking, he's one of the top motivational speakers in the world, right? Not because he was naturally gifted and talented at it, but because he worked at it. If you think about his PhD that he has in education, he struggled with writing. And now look at where he's at, writing books, authored so many books. This is one of the books, Greatness is Upon You. He just wrote a kid's book where they talk about their superpowers called You Ain't the Boss of Me. And here's what I love about Eric Thomas's story. What's inspiring to me is so he started, again, high school dropout, ended up, 12 years later getting his PhD, right? He started doing some motivational speaking, went into the college system, sharing with college students why education is opportunity and opportunity is access, right? He was saying that, he was placing education high, and he still does. And then he ended up doing some motivational speaking for all different NBA, NFL, all the major sports programs, the Olympics, so on and so forth. Even till this day, he still gets called in. Then he took his company to the next level, and he's international, went to Australia, Egypt, like doing all this work. But here's what I love about ET the most. This year, he just announced earlier, or actually last year, for this year, he announced that he was leaving corporate and he was going back into the schools. He's going back to where it started, into elementary schools, middle schools. He's taking his book called You Ain't the Boss of Me, and he's doing the DISC assessment, and he's writing books for kids so they can find their greatness. And then he's not only just providing this curriculum for the kids, but he's also, trying to get, or not trying, but he's going to be training teachers and staff, right? He's bringing his program back to the schools, and he's doing it just for the school. So think about, his goal is a Nobel Peace Prize. And just looking at his story and thinking about him, and again, he gives his content away for free online, 10 years worth of content. You need some motivation, inspiration, like here you go. And so, for me, I relate to ET in so many different ways, again, because, like him and his wife having, some sicknesses and dealing with that, and, using that as a drive to motivate him, right? Similar situation to mine. The fact that, person of color coming from where he came from, the circumstances, dropping out of high school, I dropped out of college, and now I'm back in, right? And I'm pursuing just the whole idea of like the mindset of the mentality of, the sports analogies that he used. I can relate to that on so many different levels. So just know, like right now, like he is proof. And for me, because I can, see myself in him so much, that's what drives me to continue to do this work with you. This is what drives me to coming from where I come from. If you're from here or not, but you can relate to my story on any level, and just know that I'm trying to, take things to the next level. Like that for me is the goal and the inspiration that I want to provide, right? That's that inspiring change, right? From the inside out, right? So always remember, hard work beats talent, right? When talent doesn't go to work. So y'all, I appreciate your time. All I got to say is, readers are leaders, right? What you put in your brain, what you put in your spirit, what you put in your body is what's going to show out into the world. These last couple of years have been so transformative for me because of all of the, not just the reading that I've been doing, but all that, the social emotional learning work that I've been doing on myself, all the healing that I've been allowing to happen, all the hurt that I've been dealing with, all the pain. But it's also, again, right, that's room for growth. So wherever you are right now, whatever you have going on, whatever your goals are, remember, if you're willing to put in the work, look at MJ. Look at Kobe, you know, Oprah, Whoopi, right? Like there's so many stories of people who just put in the work. And that's what helped them stand out. That 120 mindset, right? We got to go beast mode. Stop running away from your problems. Stop running away from the things that you got to face, right? Be wired differently. Thank you for taking this time, y'all. Tomorrow, I got a special guest. We're going to be helping parents out. So I got a good friend, Chelsea Hogg. She's from Positive Parenthood. She's going to be with us tomorrow, Positive Parenthood. And it's all about sharing ways to, you know, take care, well, tips for stuff that's going on at home. She's going to share some frequently asked questions from parents on how to, you know, work with the littles. And if you have, you know, adolescents and even teenagers. So it's going to be a great episode. Yeah, I'm looking forward to tomorrow. But again, thank y'all for tuning in, y'all. If you found any value in today's video, remember, join the tribe and click subscribe on the link below. Your boy is out. Oh, let me get these last comments in here. Yes, correct. Coach Carey, failure is part of the journey. It's a process to learn from and do better. And thank you for the purple hearts, Joanne. We are gone, y'all. Take care. Peace.